could you describe a recent situation where you felt that your leadership team or the leadership team of your clients could have benefited from additional training or guidance with respect to culture building, leadership, or both?
I can think of one example from the army. I don't know
Okay.
if it's related here, but I'm from Israel, so I definitely spend, unfortunately, a lot of my time in the army. In Israel, men are doing reserve. They spend time in the reserve till the age of 48 or 50 sometimes. So so there was, and I was a deputy a battalion commander in the artillery, and we had a certain kind of it was like a semi-battle that I understood that we as artillery people cannot cope with the needs or the demands that this battle bring to us. You see, because we weren't trained. It wasn't our training to deal with what we dealt. We were artillery people, but we were summoned by a higher officer to do something else. And then I realized that in order to function the best, it doesn't matter if it's in the army or in a company, you need to know exactly what your capabilities are. And if you don't have these capabilities, you have to be trained to do this mission that you're summoned to. You see, you cannot say to artillery people to conquer a hill because they are not trained to do that. You cannot. Right. You won't say to marketing people in a company to write a code because they are not trained to do that. Right. As you won't say to code people that writing code in a high-tech company to market what they are writing or their product. You see?
Yeah.
And yeah. I find these training sessions very crucial in a lot of companies, and companies are falling, especially companies that are in a high, in a place of that they are from very small companies, they turn to be big companies, and this is the most dangerous period. You see, this growth period is very dangerous because you need more investments, more people to recruit more people and more skilled people. And then if you're not doing it correctly and you don't train the people correctly, you can fall.
Right. And that actually aligns with the first one of these interviews I did, and that was Marcy Gundry. She said something interesting about it. She says, we take people who are great at their jobs, we reward them by promoting them, which ultimately leads to a leadership position, especially if they're, continue to get better and they continue to improve. But then it's surprising how many companies hadn't really considered exactly what you're talking about here. That is, we put them in a leadership position, but we didn't teach them how to lead. So then they are far more likely to quit or basically drown. And she identified some of the sort of solutions to that. But we promote people. There was a famous book, I don't even know who wrote it, but it's called The Peter Principle. And it's based on the idea that most companies promote people to the level of their incompetence. And if they're good, that means they're promoted until they hit leadership, and they usually hit a glass ceiling and maybe falter because, again, don't expect what was the position you were in? You were gunners in the military. You were a gunner in the military?
And in the artillery.
Artillery, right. Teaching somebody how to do artillery, don't expect them to do, ground operations outside of that purview unless you train them to do so. Just like you said, same here. You rise somebody to a leader if they are not good leaders because they have no leadership training and you haven't trained them, you as the higher level leader, that's your responsibility. If they don't know how to do it and they fail, it's your fault for not teaching them how to do it.
Yeah, leadership is something, it's a totally different issue. I don't know if you want to speak about that, but in the Israeli army, in the officer course, and I was in the basic officer course, and then I was in platoon commander courses, then I went in battalion commander course, and then the leadership aspect is the core issue of this course. The leadership aspect, and the leadership aspect has many, it spreads to many fields. It's not only to know more, it's to lead. I think we spoke about it in our previous discussion, is to lead by example. This is the number one rule of leadership, to lead by example. You cannot say something to a person and don't act. You have to walk your talk, and to be there, and to stand behind your words, and to lead people, and to show them the way. You yourself, for example, when I was with my soldiers and we had a morning run, I ran with them. When we had when we needed to do a mission, I was there with them.
Well, and it's funny because leaders who don't get that don't realize why, or I think the main effect of leaders who aren't willing to walk their own talk, to lead by example, they're really not respected by those they lead, because it's like they're telling me to do this, but they either can't, won't, or couldn't be bothered to do what they expect us to do. And, that's not going to lead to great results. At least that's what the research and history says. So the next question then is,